This is called the shift. We're in the throes of a unique paradigm right now called the shift. It's a time when the Earth moves into a new, higher cycle of energy in the photon belt. And drastic changes take place as a result of more and more light. Now, when you look around, things appear to be really bad and getting worse. And yet at the same time, many people are saying that humanity has begun to awaken to reality now. Two drastically different viewpoints. One group is calling this new time the shift, the ascension, the age of Aquarius. The other group is afraid things will never go back to normal. And guess what? They're right. Because normal was never good. So we are really shifting from the ignorance of an ancient age to a new time. If humanity is awakening, what have we been asleep to all this time? Okay. Watch the news. But the real answer to this question was actually hidden carefully in the Bible eons ago. So let's look back for a minute. For over 2,000 years, most religions believe that resurrection and ascension referred to just one man's accomplishment. They worshiped Jesus as God's only begotten Son. His achievement was the only man in history who ever conquered the last enemy, death. He alone ascended and rose to heaven and resurrected from the dead. But let's look at this story and see what it was really meant to convey, and yet disguise the deeper meaning until the children of Israel were old enough to understand the truth. The Bible is a series of stories. It's pablum for babies, knowing babies can't digest solid truths yet. And this was true of the children of Israel, and for, I hate to say it, a few of us today. They were not adult enough to understand. It's like telling the babies the stork brings them. So the Bible is a storybook for children, mental children. But let's translate these stories now using our adult ears. Let's see what they really said and listen to Jesus' words with the adult ears. I am. Notice the power of I am. People just read the sentence, I am the way, the truth, and the life. But it's I am the power. The things that I do shall ye do. Even greater things shall ye do, he said. He never claimed he was unique. He was not the great exception. He was the great example. So what did he mean when he said we could do even greater things? But come to think of it, who would even want to follow Jesus? After all, he suffered persecution and crucifixion and an agonizing death. How many of us really want to volunteer for that? And yet, haven't most of us in this room been crucified in a way? Think about it. Some of the crucifixions, divorce, illness, bankruptcy, shame, public humiliation, physical and mental agony, terrible disappointments, betrayals, job losses, need I go on? Death of loved ones. I'll bet everyone in this room has had a crucifixion or two or three or more. But some of us are still having us now. But none of us has seemed to have resurrected since we're all sitting here and standing here. Why not? Well, today let's examine what Jesus believed, what truth he knew that made it possible for him to rise from the dead and ascend above the earth to a higher dimension. He acted out a tremendous shift, the end of death and the beginning of ascension to a new energy, a new world. Mark 27:51 describes the death of Jesus. And behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from the top to bottom. But Jesus said, destroy this temple and I'll raise it up in 3 days. So temple is obviously the body. Jesus' whole life on earth was a cosmic play. He announced the finale when he said, it is finished. And he gave up the ghost. Look with adult eyes. That ghost, what he released was his spirit, his divine essence, his immortal eternal life. Death was never Jesus' message, nor was agony. He told us why he came to earth in these exact words. I came to give them life more abundant. Not illustrate how to die on a cross and suffer. Now you may wonder why that's there. So where did Jesus choose to be crucified? John says they took Jesus to Golgotha, in Hebrew meaning the place of the skull. The skull symbol is not a coincidence. He chose this place because he knew exactly where the crucifixion must take place in us. It's in our skulls. And what's in our skulls? Our thoughts, our beliefs, our minds. Faith, not truth, but what we believe to be true. So the skull represents two things. The tomb, where the belief that we are human must die, and the birth of a new understanding that we are eternal, immortal, divine. Because the truth is what Jesus emphasized. You're gods, all of you, sons of the Most High. He didn't say, I am tough, the rest of you. And he also said, be it done unto you according to your faith. What's your faith but what you believe? So it's only recently we're beginning to understand the real reasons for this drama. He was exposing the lie that we're still being told today, that we are human and subject to death. Now you may look around and say, well, it's obvious, the truth, everybody dies. Well, that's true. And why is it true? Because our collective skulls have the same belief that we've always had. We believe death is what has to happen. No exceptions, certainly not us, just Jesus. Yeah. Kill that one wrong belief and you kill death. And Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall free you. Nothing new happens. It's just the unveiling of the symbols. And it's no accident the last book of the New Testament is called Revelations. Not, oh, it's all new. It's revealing what always has been and what always is and will be. All these years we've been taught to worship a man in agony, defeated, dying on a cross. I don't know about you, when I used to go to 3 hours, they had a 3 hours agony service. Anybody used to go to that? No? Good thing. Mother dragged me. And I'm telling you, those 3 hours of agony, it was celebrating the stations of the cross and every drop of blood Jesus suffered. It was ghastly, like a horror movie. But the church made money on it, I think. What we should have been seeing was Jesus ascending into heaven, turning into light saying, "Come follow me. I came to give you life more abundant. You're God's." But no, a helpless, suffering human in agony was the image that was imprinted in our brains and for centuries. Did most of you go to church where you saw a cross with crucifixion?
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What churches did you go to? Don't tell me this is called unity. We were programmed to hide our divinity from us. Because each one of us realized that we were divine. We wouldn't need kings, we wouldn't need popes, we wouldn't need priests, we wouldn't need rabbis, and we wouldn't need ministers. Each one of us would know that we have the power within us, right within us, in the Sacred Heart. Today, people are starting to wake up to this truth. The shift is a shift in consciousness, a greater awareness as planet Earth enters the new age. Now, recently, the Earth has moved out of what has been described as a bubble. It's been there for about 26,000 years. For the first time, we're getting direct light now from photons from which we've been shielded for eons. So humanity is beginning to awaken from the ancient belief that we're simply human beings, worms of the dust, subject to physical laws. We're beginning to suspect what unity has always affirmed in every service. There's only one presence and one power in the universe. But guess what? If there's only one, we must be included in that one. Otherwise, we'd have 2, 3, 10, or 1,000,000. And we'd have more than one power. So if there's only one presence and one power active in the universe and in our life, what's the last line?
God, good, omnipotent.
I am one with that.
And I am one with that presence and power. How many times did we say that and not realize that was the truth? So we must start using the Creator's name, I am, to declare what we desire, not what we fear. And I have to tell myself of that a lot because I was programmed brilliantly to, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldst come to me. That was the song, one of them. And I think there's Amazing Grace has something that sounds like you're a worm too, doesn't it? Right now, all the ignorant and cruel things are surfacing, but they're surfacing to be changed. The age-old prejudices have flooded our news. People are rallying to change them as never before. This is part of the shift. It's the darkness before the dawn. I like the next one. Okay, this is the human race. We've been worms all along. Now we're in this dark cocoon, and it's scary and dark, and it's limiting, and we know we're worms, and we used to be able to crawl on the ground freely, and now we're in a dark, oh, it's scary. But one day soon, we will shed the skin of the old worm form and fly free as light from the cocoon, like beautiful butterflies. Each of us will be a being of light. The crystalline bodies are starting to be activated now, they say. I've heard so many people recently complain about how bad things are getting. Try not to agree with them. Try not to judge by appearances, because somebody said don't. but they're only being changed by love and compassion and understanding. So as the song said, be a beacon of light, a lighthouse showing the way to the new human divine future. Let there be light. Welcome to the age of Aquarius, the age of light. And thank you, so it is. You are all light beings.